Welcome to Estherpreneur, a podcast for entrepreneurs and leaders doing business and life God's way. Each week, we discuss biblical and practical tips to improve your mind, business, spirit, relationships, and finances. Listen along as I speak with special guests on how to thrive in all aspects of life. Hi, I'm Edna. Like many of you, I wear many hats. I'm a military wife, mother, author, certified John Maxwell business and executive coach, trainer, and founder of Favor and Wealth, where we help the good guys win. So tune in as we bring on the light. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of the Estherpreneur Podcast. My name is Edna Harding, and today we are going to talk about the solar system. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're like, what in the world did I just listen to? Especially if you're new here or if you've been following along. Let me just give you a little bit of background. The other day, I was watching a show with my two girls. I have a 5-year-old and a 4-year-old. And we were just talking about the solar system. And they were like basically creating arts and craft about it. And they were talking about just how the different planets, the unique features about them, and how the sun was a star, which I totally forgot that was his. But as I was watching this lady explain all of the synchronicities and just how brilliant these planets were created, meaning like it was just like there's no way, like there isn't a God, if that makes sense. And I was just reminded of the power of the God that we serve. So, for those of you guys who are new here in this podcast, we talk about business and life God's way. So, yes, I will relate the solar system to business. You're like, what? Yes. And this is going to be a series. And this particular episode, we're going to talk about the sun, SUN strategy. Okay, so I want you guys to just imagine this: a star 93 million miles away, which is our sun. It doesn't chase planets or asteroid belts. It simply shines, right? The gravity, the light, everything orbits around the sun. Okay, everything orbits around the sun. Now, follow me. In business, some of us run after clients, we discount ourselves, we burn out, and we are like planets chasing fruitlessly. So you're just chasing. But in reality, you're not made to orbit. You're actually called to radiate, to shine. I remember one of the prophetic words, let me back up. So every year, God gives me a word for that year. And a few years ago, my word was radiant Edna. So you're called to radiate. You're called to be the sun. You're called to shine. And everything around it comes to you, not the other way around. Okay, so let's just talk a little bit about, a quick story. Two stars were born close together. One raced around planets, trying to impress them. The other one just stayed steady, unwavering, luminous, just shined. And over time, planets deserted the first one, but then formed beautiful systems around the second one. Okay? What am I saying? Momentum follows constancy, not chasing. Let me say that one more time. Momentum follows constancy, not chasing. You just have to be. Hear me. You just have to be. You don't have to be chasing the next big thing. You just have to be. And God is the one who's going to attract what you need to you if you just be. Does that make sense? Everything you need is already in you. Let me say that one more time. Everything you need is already inside of you. You just have to be. The problem is a lot of people do not know how to just be. Be who all God created you to be. Okay? So let's just talk about the truth about the sun real quick. I don't know if you guys knew this, but the sun has been burning steadily for 4.6 billion years. 4.6 billion years, the sun just continues to burn steadily. Now imagine this, guys. God created the sun. God created the sun. If the sun has been around for 4.6 billion years, how long has God existed? Oh, come on, Lord. Help us all. This is the God that you serve. I think a lot of times we limit God by our limited understanding, by what we see on the earth. But if you look outside of the earth, outside of time, and really just grasp how big our God is, you truly will not worry about a thing, because the God who ensured that the sun burns steadily for 4.6 billion years knows your name, knows how many hair is on your head, knows every tear that you shed. That's the God that you serve. Okay, that's the God that you serve. So let me ask you, are you visible daily? Can people see your constant self, or do you change like at a drop of a dime? You change constantly. Or are you being you regardless of who's in front of you? So one of the things that I've learned that I do, and not to impress you, but to impress upon you that I'm the same way with my family, as strangers, as friends, at networking events. I'm the same way. I don't have a different personality or a different character type with different audiences. I'm the same person. I'm as authentic as you can get. I'm quirky, I'm funny. I'm also like very passionate about my conversation. Like sometimes my husband's like, why are you like preaching at us? Like it feels like I'm preaching. So I'm the same way. And that's what the Lord needs you to be. He wants you to be a constant person. Like the way you are before the Lord should be the way you are before people, right? Meaning, and to a certain extent, obviously, He wants us to be wise. You can't Holy Spirit, cast your pearls among swine, but there should be some consistency, right? And what I want you guys to do is really think about this. How can you constantly or visibly be you and show up? Okay. Because that's what you need to be. In order for you to be like a son, you need to be consistent. You need to show up daily to your content, show up regularly with your clients, provide quality on a regular basis. Like commit to reliable weekly content, to reliable client check ins, commit to reliable quality delivery. Does that make sense? All right. The second thing I want to talk about the sun is it actually gives light and warmth to all without depletion. Without depletion. So, what does that mean? Are you generous or stingy with your highest insight? Are you truly being a blessing or do you hoard? Right? So people are surprised that I really tell them like the secrets of my secrets. Like I have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on wisdom. And yet I'm sharing it with clients who pay not even a quarter of that, right? Why? Because I realize that too much is given, too much is required. And freely as I freely I give, as freely as I receive. I don't know if I probably butchered that, but you have to be generous because a teacher always gives away her best lesson. Okay? Teachers, real teachers, give your best. That's the Jesus that we serve. He didn't give like crappy stuff. He gave life-changing things. Okay? Because when you are generous about your wisdom or generous about your gifting, it expands your reach because people don't buy mediocre. People buy excellence, right? So I want you to share your tips, your insight, your wisdom without asking. Share it, be generous, give freely, right? Um, and then when you do that, people will see the value of who you are, and then your influence will amplify. Okay. The third thing I want to talk about is regarding the sun is the gravity organizes the solar system. The gravity organizes the solar system. What does that mean? Are you positioned at the center of your niche? Right? Are you positioned at the center of your niche? So the sun, again, everything orbits, thank you, Holy Spirit. I was like, what am I saying? Everything, by the way, guys, I'm recording this early in the morning while the family is asleep before we go on vacation, which is why I'm whispering. I hope you guys can still hear me. But anyway, let me just kind of back up. So if my brain is kind of foggy, it's because it's early in the morning and my brain is not yet 100% up. Okay. So are you positioned at the center of your niche? Or are you like going to the right, going to the left, or you're staying on a narrow path? So, meaning stay in your lane. So, for example, a doctor can specialize in one illness, or um, you could be a coach specializing with a specific type of audience. Like the more specialized you are, the more you will sell. The more people are going, you're going to attract your tribe. Okay. Because people are going to see clarity and authority in that space. And that's what's missing with a lot of entrepreneurs is they do everything and anything. So for me, I my niche, Business Unlimited, which is my signature framework, is the same program I use for all clientele. So whether if it's my group coaching, whether if it's my one-to-one, whether if it's my workshops and training, whether if it's my speaking engagements, it's all the same program. I know my signature framework and the concepts within my signature framework like the back of my hand. And basically, I teach people how to prosper in the midst of crisis. I teach people how to build something from nothing. I teach people how to elevate their soul so that they can elevate their business. Okay. So, what do I say this? Like, this is like my positioning. And I'm attracting the people because I'm very clear with what exactly I do. My programs is called Battle to Booming Business. I take your battle and turn it to a booming business. So I say all of this to say that one thing that I highly recommend for all entrepreneurs, CEOs, especially if you're in a coaching consulting space, or even if you have a service offering, create a signature framework or a method that makes you unmistakable. Because you're right, there are a lot of people probably in the industry doing the same exact thing. So what differentiate you from this person to the next person? It's your process. It's the experience they have when they hire you. That's what's going to differentiate you. And the last thing that I want to talk about when it comes to the sun is the sun doesn't adjust its orbit to please passing comets. Oh, come on. It doesn't, when a comet comes, he doesn't move. Okay. He doesn't move or change. He's there. So, how does this apply to business? Do you bend for every client or trend? Oh, come on. Do you pivot when the industry changes, or are you being exactly who God called you to be? Are you doing exactly what God called you to do, even if it goes against the norm, even if it goes against the masses? You have to be so confident that you're standing on firm foundation, even though everything around you and everyone around you tells you otherwise. And the way you do that is you have to define your non negotiables. What are the things that you will not change, regardless of what's going on around you? So for me, that's my values. For me, that's my methods, the way I do it. Regardless if you're a believer or unbeliever, I use the same program. I don't change just because you're not a believer. Okay. Right? The scope of work that I do doesn't change. I tell them exactly what I am and I tell them exactly what I am not. Okay. Pricing changes. Yes. Pricing changes because I'm usually led by the Holy Spirit when it comes to that. Um, I go through seasons where I'm very, very generous, and there go through seasons where I'm like, I have to price my packages the way I need to price it because I have responsibilities. And this is not about me. This has to do with the assignment God gave me for that particular season. And I need to have the resources to be able to fulfill that assignment, right? And God definitely uses my businesses to supply the provision for that assignment, not just my assignment, but other people's assignment too. Okay. Now that's a whole new other topic in itself. But you have to define that. You have to know what your non negotiables are and never compromise. Never compromise. Okay. All right. So I'm going to challenge you over the next 40 days. All right. Your first week, I want you to post a meaningful insight daily. So I want you to illuminate yourself. Okay. Share your gifting. Maybe provide some sort of free giveaway, a lead magnet, for example, or a free workshop, or free wisdom. Like post a meaningful insight every day. Okay. The second week, I want you to give deeply. Okay. Share a high value resource freely, right? Like be a blessing to people, or maybe go and find someone that you want to be a blessing to, right? The third week, I want you to beam brightly. What does that mean? Clarify your niche and create your signature offer or your signature method or your signature product experience. And that's one thing I want to say. A lot of people think, well, I have a product, I don't have a service. Well, you could still create some sort of signature experience around that product. That's going to differentiate you from someone who buys makeup from you and someone who buys makeup from somewhere else. What does that look like with you? Okay. And number four, you have to stand firm. Okay. You have to have boundaries when it comes to the scope of your work, when it comes to your pricing, when it comes to your values, when it comes to who you want to work with. Create specific boundaries. So if you don't have a boundary, why don't you set one week number 4? Okay. Week number 4. And in week number 5, you want to review all the things you have done and identify lessons learned from each week. And you have to kind of like learn from that and then revamp what you learned by implementing something else new, using the same type of actions or same um, what's that word? The same action items for the following month. Okay, that is how you can truly utilize the sun strategy, right? The strategy from the sun for your business. Remember, my friends, you were created to shine, not to chase. Okay. You need to attract, not manipulate. And you most importantly need to govern your domain. Just as the sun governs the day, the sun doesn't move when stuff comes their way. It stands firm. Okay. And in the sun, thank you, Lord. The sun trusts God so much that even if comets come, even if the comets, like let's say, attacks the sun, let's say it goes through the sun, it doesn't move. So yes, you will have weapons forming against you, but it will not prosper. Do you hear me, my friends? Remember, guys, you are the sun. Let the industry orbit around your authority. Okay? Let it orbit around your authority that's been given to you by the Most High God, who, by the way, created the universe. So if you ever doubt God's providence or God's power, just look up at the stars, look at the solar system, look at the sun, and remind yourself that the same God who created the universe, the sun, the moon, and the stars, and the planets, and everything in it, knows my name, knows my name, and made me in his own image, because I am the son and the daughter of the great Almighty One. All right. Well, I hope this blessed you, and I pray that you have a wonderful week ahead. Take care, my friends. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us this week on Estherpreneur. Make sure to visit our website, favorandwealth.com, for more information on our services. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or if you simply tell a friend about the show, that would help me out too. Also, check out my book, The Ugly Side of Sales, available on Amazon, where I share 7 of my secrets on how to win and grow business the right way. Until next time, keep shining.